guys, so we're back. Today we're at the workshop. This morning I mucked around with the TIG welder at home and put a V-band clamp in a mandrel band to go onto the exhaust of the Torana. So before we get into pulling the cylinder head off the Torana and the cam and all the other stuff like that, while it's together, I'm going to build the exhaust system so that way it fits, and then we're going to pull it off. And while we're doing the motor, we're going to go through and get that probably ceramic coated or something like that. We're building it out of stainless, 409 stainless, so that way you can TIG weld it, you can MIG weld it. It's less prone to cracking like the shiny stuff and easier to work with. So we're coating it anyway to make it go black and just basically disappear under there. So we're going to work with that stuff, and it's a lot cheaper. So we're going to build all of that, send it out for coating and get into the motor. So first up, some of the stuff arrived. We'll show you what has. Still waiting on a couple of big pieces, but when Star Trek finally got their act together, some stuff did actually turn up, albeit to incorrect addresses and stuff like that, but eventually got there. So the guys at VPW sorted us out with a Sniper EFI kit. 2-barrel one, so the 2300. It's only a little 202. You can't go putting a 4-barrel one on there. It's just way too big for what this motor is going to be. That was actually really quick. The guys went through the list of stuff we wanted and got it all here. I reckon they had it landed here within 3 weeks. So about actually 2 weeks. Really, really good. We've got some ARP head studs, 2.5-inch stainless pacemaker muffler, and a box of stainless bends. Length of 409 stainless straight pipe up there. And to go with the Sniper, because Holly doesn't know what a red 6-cylinder is, so we've gone with the ICE ignition system made down in Victoria in Australia. The guys were really, really helpful. That was all on the shelf and delivered within a week. 4 or 5 days actually. So that's a complete system ready to plug into the Sniper. The Holly will actually control the ignition curve. It's just the ICE side of things is the billet distributor, cap, leads, pickup, that kind of stuff. Their high energy coil, the bracket to mount it in the OE spot on the engine block, and a 7-amp ignition box to go with it. Plus ICE make a full wiring loom that'll plug straight into the Holly Sniper like the Holly ignition systems do. So happy with that. We've got the Aussie Speed 2-barrel intake, because that A, it looks a lot nicer than the Redline one, and B, the ports on it and everything flow a lot better than the Redline ones ever did. So we've got one of those to go with the EFI, and all the Crow gear I think we spoke about last time. So there's a flat tappet hydraulic cam. It's going to start making power about 2800 RPM and go through to about 6. So it's their equivalent of what a OE XU1 cam would have been. Is anti-pump uplifters, the Crow stainless roller tip rockers, guide plates, screw-in studs, everything. Haven't ordered the hardened push rods yet, because once the cam goes in, then we'll degree it and set it up and work out what we're going to need for push rod length. There's also the aluminium helical timing gears that come from Crow as well. And I think that's about everything. We're waiting on Diff King down in Victoria. He's building a 355 helical LSD center and a set of billet 28 spline axles ready to come up and bolt straight into the Banjo diff. So we're keeping it all fairly well stock looking. So it still looks like the original Granddaddy SL that it is, but giving it a little bit of herbs and a little bit of something to liven it up, make it a little bit of a nicer thing to cruise. So I'm going to get this thing down off the hoist and disconnect the battery, and we're going to get under there and start tacking this exhaust together. So because we're using the 409, you can, like I said, MIG weld it, and it successfully MIG welds quite well. I'm going to tack it all together with the MIG welder at work and then bring it home and TIG it from there. So Hopefully it shouldn't shrink too much, so we might do it in stages. We'll do the intermediate section today to the diff, put the muffler in, have it all hung, take it home, weld it up, and then bring it back and we'll do the tailpipe once the center section's all fully welded up. But yeah, I'll turn you around and we'll get into that. Okay, so before we get into it too far, just to catch us up on what this car actually is, about 2017, 2016, one of my mates bought himself a LX hatchback. Obviously he's still got it. He was looking at something to do up and put a fairly hot little motor in. This one popped up and it's actually a really good one owner, or two owner car now that he's got it. Factory 6-cylinder, factory auto, factory aircon with the integrated air, not the underdash one. It was a really nice little solid car. Not original paint by any means. You can see it's been touched up and maintained over the years, but it's just really nice. You don't see them that unmolested anymore. So we kind of thought this one wasn't the one to cut up. When he found another hatchback shell, it was missing the motor, missing the box, missing the diff. Someone had already blasted it back to bare metal and put etch primer over the whole car. Now that one was a factory SS body, but obviously with nothing in it, so no numbers matching running gear or anything. That's the one he's gone to town on. Really nice looking paint job, tidy body. It's got a 355 stroker based on a 304 Holden that I got him from Joe and Izzy down at Cum Racing before they retired. They basically built the whole motor, ran it on the engine dyno with the carby and dizzy as is, and then crated it up and sent it up for him. I do believe that one's got a Tremec 5-speed in it as well as a 9-inch. So that's the toy. This one is going to be kept. The aircon's going to be staying there. We're going to leave the unit there because one day the goal is to make the integrated air work again. We'll see how that goes. But for now, just spice the motor up a little, make it a bit more fun to drive. The 202 was rebuilt back in 2017. I went through and gave it a clean up and fresh cylinder head, fresh rings, pistons, bearings, the whole lot. So as a whole, the motor's actually really solid. It's got a little Redline Talker 2-barrel on there with a 350 Holly from Hume Performance. Runs good. And a electronic dizzy out of a later blue model 202. So that side of things works really well. It's just a bit boring, a bit sedate. When we do the cam swap and everything, that carby and intake manifold we're leaving on the car to do the initial fire up. So that way we can get oil pressure and bring the revs up to 2000, 2200 and bed the cam and the lifters in, because the rest of the motor doesn't need bedding in, but we're pretty paranoid that we don't want to wipe a lobe on the cam or dome a lifter. So the last thing I want to do is have a fresh sniper on there, no tune, and then try and bed a cam in. So we're going to use that to bed the cam in, and then once that's all done and we've got it running right, then it'll be a case of doing the sniper install as a totally separate job. So sniper and the electronic ignition conversion, we'll be doing that all as a separate job. So for now we're going to concentrate on the basics, which is why I want to get the exhaust built, so that way once it comes back we can start it and run it. Yeah, so I'll get this battery disconnected and we'll take it back up and start welding that pipe up. Show you down in here while you're there. It is actually really, really clean. Again, not perfect, but engine batch itself has never been resprayed. All the factory air is still there, bar the pipes and the evaporator and compressor, which are the hard things to find. Everything else is under the dash too. So, sweet. Okay, so because of our drop saw being old and worn out and it doesn't cut real straight anymore, I've lopped a piece about 850 long off of straight pipe, which is going to go through the center section to the muffler, and then I've just wrapped a piece of paper around, made it match up, and then I've put it towards the edge of the cut edge, and I've marked it with a Sharpie. So now when we take the paper off, what we'll have on the end is a line that we can follow, and we'll sand it back all the way around till it's gone, and that'll give us our nice straight-ish level cut, so we can butt it up and hopefully TIG weld it with no air gaps, because I ain't that good at TIG welding, so the less gaps there are, the less chance of me blowing holes. So I'll get in and sand that all up so it's ready to go, and we'll get to the next piece. Okay, so we've tacked that all in, and I've half welded the new collector onto the extractors there. So we're going to undo the V-band clamp, take that system off, and then put it over on the bench and weld that up. But what we've got is, we've got clearance to our cross member, only just, clearance to the floor, clearance to the handbrake cable, clearance to the floor up here. We might need to just have a bit of a look at how we mount it, because it mounts up in the back there. So, but it's terrible to see there. So yeah, so everything clears up through there, only just, but it clears and clears all the tail shaft. So I'm going to undo that V-band clamp, drop that stand down, we'll put it on the bench and weld it up. Okay, so I know I did say I was going to take it home and TIG weld it all up after I've tapped it, but it welds really nice with the MIG, so we're just going to weld it up, grind it out, and it is going to get coated anyway, so you're not going to really tell. So we'll get it all finished up. Okay, so we're done. I'll give that a clean up and then we'll show you how it turned out. Okay, so we're running out of battery and I didn't bring anything to charge it with, so we'll get in quick and show you what we've got done. It's the intermediate section is all fully hung, and I've just got, when we drop the headers out, up above there at the top, I've got to finish welding that. All the welds on the mandrels we've got to go through, and I've got to dress them up with the sanding pad. I'm not going to dress up the welds where the V-belt, the V-clamps go on. And I'm not going to dress up these welds around the muffler where they slip in there. They're clean enough, so just these ones. We've got plenty of clearance to the cross member, handbrake cable, floor, in through there now, there's plenty of clearance. We've reused the original exhaust hanger in there. See if we can get a light, that's dark as heck. So in there, we've reused the original Holden hanger, and I've cycled the diff up and down, and where the 2.5 inch pipe goes up to go over the diff, we've got plenty of room. So we are going to run another T-bolt clamp up in there, so that way the rear tailpipe section will be removable. So I've got that clocked now for the angle where it's got to go up through, and then I'll TIG weld the exhaust clamp there to the two halves of the pipe, and then that way I can clock the top section where I want it to be, and then we'll go from there, and next weekend we'll go through and tack off the rest to get the tailpipe hugging in along this chassis rail and coming out in the corner down here. Probably level with that rail. I might even get it outboard a little bit, depends where it sits, and try to get the original tip position coming out through here, just shy of the bumper. So I'll just take this off because it's just sitting on there. And like I was saying, we have cycled that diff, the full height of travel, to bottomed out and full droop, and it clears that, and we will be able to get the 2.5 inch pipe up and over and clear all that there. It's going to be tight, but it'll clear. So I'll pop these up here, and because that's all fully welded up, I've never used one of those pacemaker mufflers before, so we'll hook the battery back up, see what it sounds like. Okay, so the battery's all hooked up. See if these mufflers are actually nice and quiet or if they're draining. She's a little bit cold, so it won't idle great, but all in all, it's not an offensive sounding muffler. Although the exhaust leaks from the couple of spots that aren't finished being welded off do sound pretty ordinary, but shouldn't be too drony. Once there's a tailpipe on it and coming out the back, it'll be quite nice. Alright, well, I'm going to shut this off, pull the exhaust system back off, and we'll take it home, and I can finish sanding and cleaning up those welds and get it ready for the next step of making that tailpipe out the back. So that's it for the week. That's the first weekend, or sorry, the first day on the Torana build. Thanks for hanging around, thanks for watching, and yeah, so next weekend we're going to get back in and finish the tailpipe off, and once that's all done and hung, we're going to mount. I'll dig through the sniper stuff and find the mounting flange for the O2 sensor. I'll work out where that's going to go, put a hole saw through it, and weld that bung in as well, so it's ready to go for when the exhaust gets hooked back up. And then the next thing is to get on to pulling the cylinder head off, so we can get all the rocker pedestals and everything machined for the screw-in studs and the guide plates and stuff like that. So again, thanks for hanging around, thanks for watching. Give us a like, share and a subscribe if you can. That'll help us grow a little bit and get more of this stuff done. And yeah, till next time, have a great week. Thanks guys, bye.